Well, it took a while. In fact, 4 months after it was initially supposed to happen, but the Kentucky Derby is here. And is this Saturday? It's September 5th. An 18-horse field was entered. The heavy favorite, I would reckon the heaviest morning line favorite, maybe going back to a horse like Spectacular Bid in Tiz the Law, who drew post number 17. You will want to play this Kentucky Derby no matter what you think of Tiz the Law's chances, and you'll want to play it through NYRA Head on over to NYRABets.com if you're not a member and use the promo code Derby25 and we will give you a free $25 play and we will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. And once you've joined NYRA you can enjoy the many fruits that it has to offer, including a promotion on Derby Day through the app only that if you bet at least $100 on both Churchill Downs and Saratoga, shouldn't be a problem given the cards at both racetracks. We'll give you a $25 bonus, more money to play the Kentucky Derby and other races going forward. The Kentucky Derby field, there it is, all 18 of them. Venture, it's been a few years since less than 20 were entered, but Tiz the Law 3-5 with the unfortunate defection of the horse who likely would have been second choice, Art Collector. Tiz the Law, an overwhelming favorite over the number 16, Honor AP, and it seems the major choices in this race drew the three outside posts, and we'll take a look at Tiz the Law burying the field in the Travers, and this was the race a lot of us, myself included, was waiting to see. Tiz the Law had been absolutely terrific in dominating his competition, but for me, the criticism before the Travers was that he was yet to run a huge buyer figure, have that breakout race. Well, that's over now because he had the breakout race in the Travers. A 109 buyer figure while sauntering to the wire down the final 16th showed the kind of talented horse he is, and he easily beat Caracaro, another horse who unfortunately went by the wayside over the last week, a very talented 3-year-old. In fact, Max Player finished third. Max Player, since that race, has been transferred from Linda Rice's barn to Steve Asmussen's barn and gets a rider change to Ricardo Santana from the very talented Joel Rosario, who's remained at Saratoga. But Tiz the Law. I've heard some craziness that no horse has ever won from post 17, so therefore that somehow is going to affect Tiz the Law's chances negatively. I don't get that. I thought the biggest concern was he drew an inside post and he'd have to be inside of horses with a quarter-mile plus run to the first turn. Tiz the Law has plenty of time and plenty of speed to establish whatever position Manny Franco wants to get for him. Tiz the Law has shown to be too good for these horses, and at the end of the day, without the Art Collectors, the Caracaros, and some others, I simply do not see a horse that is going to beat Tiz the Law. Maybe he gets a bad trip, maybe he doesn't fire, but that's a maybe you always have to deal with in horse racing. Tiz the Law 3-5 is tough to take in any field, particularly with 18, but I do not see a horse that is likely to beat Tiz the Law in this running of the Kentucky Derby. But let's still take a look at some of his biggest challengers. Had Honor AP won the Shared Belief and won it impressively, you wouldn't be seeing 3-5 in Tiz the Law, and we'd be talking about an interesting East-West matchup. Now listen, maybe we'll still see it. Certainly, Thousand Words ran a big figure in this race, and maybe if he builds on that, he could beat him. Maybe you're going to say that Honor AP needed the race. I don't see why he needed the race. To me, he didn't get the best of trips. But if you take a look at the PPs, the horses from this race, and particularly the horse that finished third to sort of move Honor AP along, you'll ask yourself how much you trust that 102 buyer figure to be predictive going forward. It is a number that works for the final time, but is not a number that works for the contenders. And I don't know about Honor AP. Yes, he looked very good in the Santa Anita Derby. You could also say that his chief rival, Authentic, didn't have the best trip that day, and Honor AP had a perfect trip. But still, he ran a 102 buyer in the Santa Anita Derby. And if he had built on that in the Shared Belief, I think we'd be looking at a serious matchup. And maybe he just didn't run his race that day, and you think that Honor AP is going to run it here. And if that happens, Honor AP is a major challenger, and I won't be surprised when it does. But right now, I don't see him beating Tiz the Law. And as far as 1,000 words, I don't get it. It's Bob Baffert, so anything's possible. He's the greatest dirt trainer perhaps in history, and obviously his Derby record speaks for itself. But I don't know where that race came from, and I think the likelihood of him repeating it and being a major contender here seems slight. I am against Bob Baffert's runners in this race, and that includes Authentic, the number 18, who in his last race in the Haskell had quite a duel with New York Traffic. Now, both of these horses have some talent, but I think both of them are questionable at the 1.25 mile distance, particularly New York Traffic. But even Authentic's got to try to get 1.25 miles. And, you know, Authentic looked like he had this race wrapped up. And New York Traffic is a very nice, hard-hitting horse, almost came and got him. And when you see Authentic getting a little late here and you ask yourself, there's going to be some speed to deal with in this Derby, and I think that speed works against New York traffic as well as some better horses, not just Honor AP, but Tiz the Law. Obviously, these are very, very good horses, and I don't think Honor AP is going to be sitting back and waiting for Authentic to open a big lead. I don't know how authentic he is in this year's Kentucky Derby, and I am going to try to beat both of these Bob Baffert runners, 1,000 Words and Authentic, and throw them out of the Super, as well as New York Traffic, who I respect. But I do not trust either one of these horses getting the 10 furlongs of the Kentucky Derby. Let's take a look at one more horse, and that is King Guillermo, before we talk about some of the auxiliary players. This is King Guillermo finishing a solid second to the very talented Nadal, who unfortunately went by the wayside in this Kentucky Derby chase. He got a perfect trip, and he ran fine in here. He's going to come into this Kentucky Derby off a 4-month layoff, and we're going to expect him to improve, 6, 8 lengths that he probably needs to be competitive? I think he's a neat horse, but he's also a horse that has plenty of speed that figures to be up near a pretty contested pace, and I just don't see him improving enough off that kind of layoff for these connections, and don't consider him a major player. So the question is, who of the other horses do I think is kind of interesting? Well, I think Max Player is interesting. I think the world of Linda Rice, the trainer, but switching to Steve Asmussen's barn is not a bad thing for this race, and the horse draws well towards the inside, and I know it's not Joel Rosario, but Ricardo Santana knows how to ride at Churchill Downs, and I think Max Player is the perfect kind of horse that's sort of going to be running along, not doing anything threatening enough to usurp his energy early, and he can run at the end. Now, obviously, if Tiz the Law falls apart, anything's possible, but I think he is more likely to be a tertiary player and maybe be second and third here, and he's actually my second choice. Going through some of the others, I thought that maybe the number 13 Attachment Rate was a little bit interesting. He was a second, just beaten over 3 lengths by Art Collector last time. And for all the people that loved Art Collector, you want to dismiss Dale Romans with Attachment Rate, who took a big step forward in the Ellis Park Derby after not running well in the Bluegrass. Dale Romans has done well with some long shots in the Derby, and I thought Attachment Rate was a horse who could move forward. Tried to make a case for Sole Volante, who maybe was coming back too quickly just 10 days after his prior race in the Belmont, but now he's got to come over 2.5 months since his last race, the Belmont Stakes, bringing a rider that might be a little bit, I don't want to say over his head. Luca Panici is a talented rider, but this is a serious race, the Kentucky Derby. I thought Sole Volante had a chance maybe for a small piece of the race collapse, but he's not a major player for me. Tiz the Law on top for me. The New York bred finishes the second leg of this year's Triple Crown and the third leg of the Quadruple Crown in the Kentucky Derby. I'm taking him on top over the number 2. That's Max Player. 2 horses out of our Travers at Saratoga. The 16 Honor AP, I don't want to completely dismiss him. I do think he is potentially dangerous, but he's got to improve off a subpar effort last time out. And the 13 Attachment Rate will be in my play as well for Dale Romans in the Kentucky Derby. But Tiz the Law, 3 to 5 on the morning line. He is the one to beat, and this is one favorite I am not trying to beat. The best thing you can do to play the Kentucky Derby and to play all the races to play through NYRA Bets. If you're not a member, head to NYRABets.com. Use promo code Derby25, and we'll give you a free $25 play, and we will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Go to NYRABets.com, support New York racing, play through NYRA Bets, and we will be offering a special deal, and we've got deals all the time on NYRA Bets. $100 at both Churchill Downs, and Saratoga on Saturday, September 5th, Derby Day. You bet at least $100 in each track. We'll give you a $25 bonus, but play through the app, and the app only to get this bonus. Best of luck in this year's Kentucky Derby. Tiz the Law, a heavy favorite. I'm not trying to beat him. Are you?